welcome back to Through the Trapdoor. I'm Emily.
And I'm Katie.
And this is our podcast where we read you Harry Potter fan fiction.
That is what we do.
Yes. So I have a fun story for you today.
Oh, I'm excited.
It's called the Hermione Granger Fan Club.
Yes! I'm here for this.
It's broken up into 4 chapters. It is only like 3,000 words, so I don't know why they broke it into 4 chapters, but whatever.
Maybe it's just where the story took them.
I guess yeah.
We'll have to see if it's where the story will take them, or if they could have just done a passage of time.
I read it all earlier. I mean, it does work for the story to break it up into chapters like they did.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
It's just where the story took them.
Yeah. It was a typical Friday evening in the Gryffindor 5th year girls' dormitory. Eloise Midgen was in the hospital wing, and Jade Dobbs, Emma Dobbs' older sister, was kindly helping her little sister with homework. Hermione, unfortunately, was trapped in the dorm with Lavender Brown and Parvati Patil. I feel like that's not actually how you say her first name, but...
It's Parvati.
Yeah.
You said it almost perfect.
Yeah, okay.
Well, according to the Jim Dale audio version, it's Parvati.
Okay. Parvati and Lavender were conducting their evening ritual, which was basically doing their nails and gossiping about boys. Essentially, with Lav and Parv, it was the only way to go.
I mean, it's so far canon.
Yes. It pretty much stays that way the whole time.
Yes! I actually love canon,
Yeah.
Lavender and Parvati when Lavender is not dating Ron.
Yeah. I mean, like, they do get a little ditzy in this story, but it's actually, like, pretty good.
But they get a little ditzy here and there in canon, but, like, outside of, like, the 1-1 garbage,
Yeah.
they were actually pretty well done characters.
Yes. You know, I think Dean Thomas likes you, giggled Lavender. Yeah, but he's got such a dumb haircut, squealed Parvati.
Oh, fair. I mean, they are 15. I did judge boys on their haircuts.
Yes. They shrieked with laughter, and Hermione wondered for the umpteenth time why her roommates had to be so girly. It was so damn boring listening to them twittering on. Besides, they both had transfiguration homeworks 3 weeks overdue. It was so irritating.
Oh, honey.
Lavender saw Hermione roll her eyes. She cast a meaningful glance at Parvati. The thing that peeved them off about Hermione was that she didn't have the slightest bit of admiration for either of them. But they both suddenly had the same idea. Hermione, you know who I think has a crush on you? Lavender said mysteriously. Hermione raised her eyebrows, but her curiosity got the better of her. Who? She said carefully, looking at her book and speaking in a couldn't-care-less sort of voice. Parvati, looking at Lavender. Said Lavender, looking at Parvati. The thing was, they hadn't actually expected Hermione to come right out and ask. The girl's supposed to be coy and mysterious, so they said the first name that came into their heads. Ron Weasley, they said together. If they expected Hermione to be impressed by this, they were sadly mistaken. Hermione let out a whoop of laughter and promptly went into hysterics. Ron, she managed to choke out. Yes, Ron, Lavender said waspishly.
Waspishly? I can't say that word.
You know what we're trying to say.
Waspishly?
There we go.
Oh!
She did it. You know, Ron, tall, red hair, blue eyes, said Parvati. Hermione was crying with mirth, but she managed to sputter. Do you mean to say you think Ron Weasley, one of the boys I've been friends with since first year, has a crush on me? What evidence do you have of that?
Everything.
They launched straight in. Well, he was looking at you in herbology, wasn't he? Said Lavender. He's my partner, Lavender. Of course he was looking at me.
Oh, I love this.
Hermione was amazed that anyone could be so dense. But Ron is always so much nicer to you than any of the other girls, said Parvati.
Well, yeah, but Hermione does all of his homework.
This explanation brought a whole new wave of laughter. Ron, nice. Are we talking about the same Ron, aren't we? But you're always together, Lavender began, but Hermione interrupted her. I'm always with lots of boys besides Ron. Harry, Neville, the Weasley twins, Dean, Seamus. How come you've never acted this way about any of them? Neither Lavender nor Parvati could think of an argument. They began sulkily painting their nails, but they were far from deterred. Ron and Hermione were perfect for each other.
Obviously. We know this. They're married with 2 children.
Yes.
Hugo and Rose.
Hermione picked up the letter her mom had sent her, still smirking. Dear Hermione, it read. How's school? Dad and I are missing you. There followed a funny story about a screaming toddler who refused point blank to have a tooth pulled. It ended, give my best to Crookshanks and those funny little boyfriends of yours, Mum.
Why are you pulling a toddler's tooth?
I don't know. I was just gonna keep going.
Okay, cool.
Maybe it came in the gums. I don't know.
My canine teeth came in up here. They didn't pull them out. They just pulled them down.
No, I don't.
Braces.
Mrs. Granger was always referring to Ron and Harry as Hermione's boyfriends.
As any mother of a 15-year-old girl who hangs out with boys.
Yes.
Any boy I hung out, oh, that little boyfriend of yours? Mom! No, he's just a boy who is my friend.
Mm-hmm. It's your job as a parent to harass your child endlessly.
Exactly.
It gets them ready for adulthood when they realize everybody harasses you endlessly forever.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Hermione sometimes got a bit miffed about this, but suddenly remembered her discussion with Lav and Parv. It was 4 seconds ago. How did you forget it?
Maybe because she was reading. Sometimes I forget what I'm talking about if I just ignore it to read something.
True.
Like, I could be having a full conversation with my husband. God bless him for not murdering me. But then I'll be like, uh-huh, and then I'll just, like, turn back to the fan fiction or the article I'm reading on my phone, and then he'll be like, did you even hear anything I just said? I'm like, no.
No.
I forgot we were talking.
What the heck? She thought as she began her letter back. You only live once. Dear Mum, she wrote, my boyfriend Ron is fine. Harry has the flu. He's in the hospital wing.
Yes. Yes, Hermione.
Hermione suddenly felt very tired. With a yawn, she put the letter on her dresser. Perhaps she would finish it tomorrow. Lavender and Parvati watched shrewdly as Hermione retreated under her covers and dozed off. As soon as they were sure she was asleep, they hopped off Lavender's bed, snatched up the letter from Hermione to her mother. Delightedly, they pointed at the first line. That proved it. They thought if Hermione referred to Ron as her boyfriend at home, then they were destined for each other. They should be going steady, hissed Lavender, as they put the letter back and slid into their own beds. Definitely, whispered Parvati. She giggled. It could be so romantic. Could it be? What? Breathed Lavender. Love.
First of all, girls, this is the 90s, not the 1950s. It's not going steady. I'm sorry. Did you just step out of Greece?
They are British. I do feel like that's a very British term.
Fair. I did forget about the British aspect. Alright, fair. I'll accept it.
On Sunday evening, Lavender and Parvati sat in a far corner, whispering. It wasn't like them not to be in the thick of things, Hermione thought. Hermione, however, had other things on her mind. I can't believe I'm finally beating you at chess, she purred. Ron looked sullen. I can't believe you're finally beating me at chess. Harry was still in the hospital wing.
Of course he is.
Long ago, Ron and Hermione had decided that every time they were alone together, they would take turns picking out things to do. Hermione always picked studying. Ron usually dithered between chess and gobstones because he was good at both. Tonight, however, Hermione had taken almost all of Ron's pieces and was acting very cocky about it. Although Ron and Hermione didn't know it, they were being closely watched. Lavender and Pavarti were discussing their latest project, which was plainly to fix up Hermione and Ron. It wasn't unusual for them to take a sudden interest in other people's romances. Only last fortnight they told Ernie that Hannah, his best friend, had wanted to be his girlfriend since second year. Ernie had confronted Hannah, who denied she'd said any such thing. They still weren't speaking to each other.
But Hannah marries Neville, so it's fine. And then they buy the leaky cauldron, and they're adorable. And then Neville becomes a professor.
"Look at that body language," whispered Lavender. "See how she's sort of leaning towards him? That's what I call chemistry." "Yeah," hissed Pavarti. "Now, how are we going to get them together? Any ideas?" Because of their tiny IQs, it took them a teensy bit longer to ponder than intelligent non-ditzy people. But after 10 minutes, Lavender snapped her fingers. "I got it."
10 minutes?
The story does kind of poke fun at them a little.
But still, 10 minutes?
I mean, you do have to think of a way to trick Hermione, so.
Fair. All right. Because it's Hermione, 10 minutes is fair. You need some extra time to do the tricking.
They didn't come up with a good plan, just to warn you, but.
Great. I'm so excited. I'm ready for the bad plan.
Pavarti suddenly grinned. She had gotten the exact same idea. "I know," she giggled. "I know, too." Lavender suddenly looked blank. What was it again? "It's very simple, dear. We'll find out what Ron thinks Hermione's best feature is, and vice versa. Then we figure out how to, enhance," Lavender offered. "Yeah, enhance it so the other notices." "Brilliant. Foolproof."
Love it. Terrible idea.
Isn't it, though?
But it's also such a 15-year-old's idea.
It really is. For them, it's great. Back at the chairs in front of the fire, Ron and Hermione's chess game had taken a sudden twist. "Check," said Ron, beaming. Hermione was suddenly alert. "What do you mean, check?" "Well, my pawn got your king, but I was winning. And now I have. Ron Weasley is still the champ."
Weasley is our king. That was book 5.
Yes. They watched as the white pawn dragged the black king to the side of the board and labored under the much larger piece. The king became aggressive and with a swipe of his black arm swept the pawn off the board out of sight. "Damn, my pawn," said Ron, dropped to the floor and began looking everywhere. "If only you were, magic and could go, Accio pawn."
It's not hard, Ron. Little wave of your wand. I know it's book 5. I know you know summoning charms. You learned that last year.
Yeah, remember when you spent the whole book teaching Harry that one spell?
Mm-hmm.
Because Harry knows 2 spells. 3. He knows 3.
3.
Sorry.
He knows 3. He can Expecto Patronum.
Yes.
He can Accio.
Yep.
And he can Expelliarmus.
Yes, he can.
And that is it. Sweet, sweet baby angel.
No, he can also turn on some lights if he needs lights.
Oh, yes, Lumos.
Yes, so he knows 4 spells.
Maybe he can turn them off, but that might be too generous.
Maybe. Hermione grinned rather wickedly. "Want some help?" "If you like," Ron grunted, shoving the table aside. "I have some arithmancy homework that needs finishing," Hermione said apologetically. "Why did you even offer if you're just going to leave?"
Seriously.
Also, SEO pawn.
Also, Ron only checked, not checkmate, you could have still taken the game.
Yeah, he didn't officially win. Fine, said Ron, still searching for his pawn. See you tomorrow. Hermione bid him farewell and left. This was the chance Pavarti and Lavender had been waiting for. As soon as Hermione was out of sight, they swanned across the room to Ron. Hi, Ron, they said together. Hey, Ron said, looking up at them. Lavender and Pavarti looked at each other and giggled. Ron, Lavender said, we want to ask you something. You know... Here she looked at Pavarti, and they giggled again, and Pavarti continued, You know Hermione, smiled Pavarti. Well, we were just wondering, what do you think Hermione's best feature is? Her best feature, said Ron blankly. I guess that she's strong. She doesn't let people push her around. He kept seeking the lost pawn.
It wasn't something about her appearance. That was his first choice. Yes.
Leg motion. No, silly, you misunderstood. We meant her best feature as in looks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well. Look, are you girls going to harp on about this? No, they said together. For once, they didn't giggle. Well, I guess it's her eyes. Her eyes? Ron wondered how they could speak in perfect time like that. What do you mean? Your brothers do it all the time.
Yeah, but they're twins.
True.
They got twin thing. And Pavarti is a twin with somebody else, so for her having the twin thing with Lavender is kind of weird.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I guess I see that now. Yeah, and he smiled in spite of himself. Hermione has really pretty eyes, especially when she's happy. Lavender and Pavarti beamed down at him. Thanks, Ron. They only started talking when they were out of earshot. Well, that went well, commented Pavarti.
Well, yeah, also, he picked something that wasn't a physical feature first, and he was a 15-year-old boy, so way to write Ron beautifully, person.
Yes.
I applaud you.
Yes. I also really like that when Ron is talking, not here now, obviously, but when Ron is talking to Harry about, like, Hermione and, like, realizing he kind of has a crush on her, he's like, what do you notice in girls? And Harry's like, skin. Ginny has nice skin.
I know. What do you think Dean sees in Ginny? Well, she's got nice skin. You think Ginny has nice skin? Well, yeah. Well, Hermione has nice skin.
It was such an awkward conversation. I loved it.
But I loved it. It was
I love it.
beautiful. It was not in the books.
No, it's probably one of my favorite movie scenes, though.
Next to.
Yes, obviously.
Notice they both come out of the one movie that I actually hate the most. I mean, they had to make it redeem itself somewhere. No, those are two different movies. No, that's the same movie, and I don't hate that one. Oh, do I? I hate that one because it's my favorite book. Half-Blood Prince is my favorite book. My almost least favorite movie. Second to least favorite movie.
You again?
Alright, now that I've gone on that weird tangent in my mind.
Hey, what if he had sent something like hair or something, Lavender said suddenly.
He didn't.
Come on, Lav. Not even Ron's that stupid. They howled with laughter all the way to the dormitory.
Also, rude!
Help poor Hermione.
First of all, as a girl who grew up with bushy, curly hair until I figured out how to deal with it, rude!
Yeah.
I want to slap you. I've rocked a lot of ponytails.
Pavarti found. So how are we going to make Hermione's eyes look nice? Oh, Parv, she delved into her pocket and extracted some eyeshadow. Is there ever anything makeup couldn't fix?
First of all, if you want to make someone's eyes pop, all you need is mascara.
Yes.
and a good under-the-eye concealer. Maybe a little white eyeliner to make them look a little brighter, and that's it.
Yeah, that's all you need.
That's all you need. Very simple.
The next morning in the dormitory, Lavender and Pavarti watched Hermione like a pair of ditzy hawks. She was cramming 4 extra books into her bag and muttering, "I don't believe it. This bag is supposed to take 15 books and 2 quills. What a ripoff!" How many books do you already have in the bag, Hermione?
Well, clearly under 15.
She probably has 15 in there.
And she's trying to put more in?
Yeah.
Well, it's not a ripoff then. Also, I wish I could find a bag that would fit that much stuff and be the size of a normal bag.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh, the possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good overnight bag in the size of a purse.
Oh, that'd be great.
Amazing. That's what I want magic for.
Yep.
I want to be able to pack heavy, but light.
Yep. We would use it for such mundane things.
Oh, totally.
Cooking, cleaning, packing.
Yeah, I just want to be an everyday wizard.
Yep.
I want to be Molly.
Yep.
Just homemaker with magic.
There we go.
I would have not 7 redheaded children, maybe 3.
Are you sure? Seems like you got 7 in there.
I mean, I could.
You're like, I could. I don't want to.
If I was a magical homemaker, yeah, give me 7 kids. I can handle it with my magic. As a muggle? No. 3 max, please. And even that might be too many.
Pavarti nodded meaningfully at Lavender, who said sweetly to Hermione, "Want some eyeshadow, Hermione?" What?" said Hermione, narrowing her eyes suspiciously. "Why?" Pavarti's voice was so sweet, Hermione practically gagged. "'Cause you look pretty."
I already am. That's what I would say.
Hermione waved her hand dismissively. "No thanks. If I wore as much makeup as you two did, my friends would never let me forget it."
Fair.
"Exactly," Lavender said triumphantly. "On account of how you look so nice."
No, on account of they think you looked like a clown.
Hermione tried to imagine one of her friends telling her she looked nice and immediately reprimanded herself. Yuck, Hermione, that was so sick.
Can we also just think about what a 15-year-old girl was wearing for eyeshadow in the 90s? It is blue or hot pink all the way up to your eyebrows and way too much glitter.
Mm-hmm. Like from Claire's.
Yes,
Yep.
and like glitter rollerball on your cheeks.
Mm-hmm.
That smelled like strawberries.
Yep. And that like really waxy, gross lipstick.
Yes. All from the dollar store, Claire's, or CVS, because it was
Obviously.
cheaper. And, oh my God. And we all thought we looked so freaking good.
With my butterfly clips, I looked amazing.
Oh my God, butterfly clips.
Body
Those
glitter
hurt-
was my favorite.
Oh my God, yes. I had so much, and like, those, the candy sprays that smelled like cotton candy and gummy bears.
Yep.
Oh my God, I loved those. Every once in a while, I'll smell something that smells like those, and I'll go, oh, I'm in middle school again. But it's all the good parts of middle school, not the shit parts of middle school.
Yeah, it's where you're like, spraying perfume on yourself, going, I look magical, and everyone else is like gagging.
Holding your Lisa Frank notebook.
Yep.
And your gel pens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Those were the days.
Yes.
"No," she said firmly, swinging her bag over her shoulder and turning to leave. Then she whipped around and spoke sweetly, imitating their voices. "This wouldn't have anything to do with your little campaign for Ron and I, would it?"
Can't get anything past Hermione.
She saw them shoot lightning glances at each other. "We don't know what you're talking about," giggled Pavarti. It was a nervous giggle. "Listen, you two. The day that Ron has any sort of feeling beyond a very good friendship for me will be the day the Weasley twins shut down Weasley Wizard Wheezes." That was very difficult for me to say, apparently.
It is pretty difficult to say, actually. Anytime I read it in fan fiction, I'm just like, www.
Yep.
Done.
Ron likes pretty girls, in case you haven't noticed.
Bitch, you are pretty.
You could be pretty with a little help.
Bitch, you are already pretty.
Hermione snorted. Geez, you're dense, she thought. What makes you two think I want to be pretty? Geez, you're so dense, thought Pravati and Lavender together. So Ron will like you.
Oh,
They both yelled. Hermione snickered. You two are nuts. She smirked. See you later. She turned to go. Hermione, wait a sec, Lavender said desperately. She turned back. Yes, she asked tiredly. We've got a question for you. Is it going to be about Ron? Yes. What do you think his best feature is? His sense of humor, she answered. Ron can be really funny.
Yes!
Lavender.
Not physical.
Lavender and Pravati sighed. No, we mean his best feature as in looks.
Oy vey, they're so dense.
Hermione contemplated this. If I tell you, can this be the end of the discussion? Yes. Well, I'm thinking his smile. Ron has a great smile.
Goes along with his sense of humor.
It does.
I was very close.
You were very close.
It needed it.
Blushing slightly, Hermione blundered out. Well, Miss Bright Idea, Pavarti said to Lavender, that was a total disaster. Yeah, Lavender agreed. A fiasco, I think. Down in the common room, Hermione met up with Ron. Harry still had the flu.
Dude, you need some ginger ale, Harry.
Harry, you need some, vitamin C. Go eat an orange.
Beautiful Madame Pomfrey, the queen of the hospital wing, would have had him cured of the flu like that.
It's just to get rid of Harry for the story.
So, don't give him the flu. Give him a horrible Quidditch accident. That'll keep him in the hospital wing for at least 3 days.
Yeah, but it was 5th year, so he wasn't playing Quidditch.
Oh, that's right. I mean, you could have just tried to throw him off the astronomy tower. I'm sure he would have tried to do that. He was so angsty that year.
True.
What was the year he could see the Thestrals? Maybe he got bit by a Thestral.
There we go. They were planning to see him in the hospital wing before classes. What's with you? Asked Ron. What do you mean? She countered. You're blushing. Something embarrassing happened in the girls' dorm.
Of course. Lavender and Pavati Patil are in there. Of course something.
I live with Lavender and Pavati. Something always is happening.
Seriously.
Do you want to know? Sighed Hermione. Is it girl stuff? Still want to know? She said, climbing through the portrait hole. Nah, thanks. Girl stuff sickens me at the best of times. Good, she said, grinning, because I wasn't going to tell you.
I love them.
Meanwhile, our two ditzes had decided to skip breakfast to try out new hairstyles in the girls' toilets. They had come up with another brilliant matchmaking scheme. It went thus. Pavati would write a note to Ron, pretending to be Hermione, and Lavender would write one to Hermione, signing it from Ron. Both letters would say, Meet me in the common room. When everyone has left, I have something very important to tell you.
That never works.
And they'll confess their feelings to each other.
No.
It will be so romantic.
No.
Isn't it, though? But of course, we all know how their matchmaking schemes go, don't we?
Terribly.
All right, last chapter. Hermione glanced over the top of her book. There were only herself and Ron in the common room. Now she could see him about that important thing he just had to tell her. Across the room, Ron put down the letter to the Chudley Cannons that he'd been writing. They were alone. Good. Now he could find out what was so important.
Why are you writing a letter to the Chudley Cannons?
Because he loves them.
All right.
But Ron and Hermione were not alone. for Pavati and Lavender were hidden behind some armchairs in a corner.
Of course they are.
They had just been there to see their scheme work out. They were both grinning. Ron got up and walked over to Hermione and, holding his hand to silence her, said, "I would just like to ask you something, Hermione. Since when do you dot your I's with hearts?"
Morons!
Behind the armchair, Lavender threw Pavati an awful look. Hermione frowned at Ron. "Since never," she retorted. "And I'd like to ask you something, Ron. Since when do you spell my name Hermoiine?"
That is not how you spell Hermione.
From behind the armchairs, Pavati looked pointedly at Lavender, who shrugged apologetically. "I know how to spell your name," Ron answered. "Maybe, hang on a second. What is it you asked me down here for?" "You asked me." "No, I didn't." "Yes, you did. I got a letter in my bag. I'll get it. Hang on." Hermione started rummaging around in her bag. Lavender and Pavati looked horrified at each other. They did not want to find out how this ended. They sneaked up the stairway to the girls' dorms without cracking the smallest lip twitch, let alone giggling. Ron looked over the letter skeptically. "I didn't write this," he said, handing it back to Hermione. Hermione's eyebrows shot up at the speed of light. "Who did, then?" "Don't ask me. You're supposed to be the smart one. You figure it out." Her eyes traveled up and down the parchment. She said. She knew she'd seen that handwriting somewhere before. Hermione put two and two together. "Lavender wrote this," she said, looking at him in the eyes, trying not to laugh, because she had a hunch why Lavender had written this. "Come on," she gestured for him to follow as she headed towards the staircase to the girls' dorms. Ron hovered uncertainly at the foot of the stairs. "What?" she said to him. "The girls are always so protective of the girls' dorms. Are you sure I can come up there?" "No, but come anywhere. I have a good feeling of what this is going to be."
We already know that it turns into a slide.
I'm wondering if maybe because he's a prefect, he can go up there.
I never thought of that.
Because, I mean, it would make sense, like, if there's something going on in the girls' dorm and you can only find
The guy prefect,
a male prefect, like, they still need to be able to get up in there.
Or if the other prefect needs backup.
Yeah. Or if it's a male teacher, like...
I bet you, because the prefects are inherently more trustworthy, they would be allowed in the girls' dormitory.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know for sure.
I like that. That's headcanon now. I'm going to keep that as canon.
Ron followed Hermione to the dorm with a sign that said 5th year girls, and she marched through the door and ripped the covers off the two beds to question their inhabitants.
That could have ended badly, though.
Pavati and Lavender looked up, aghast, at Hermione and Ron. Before Hermione could open her mouth, Pavati blurted out, "He's a boy!" meaning he's not allowed to be up here. Hermione was solely tempted to roll her eyes and say, "No, duh," but she knew it would be wasted on their pea-sized intellects. "We can deal with formalities later. Now, why did the two of you send us those letters? How did you know it was us?" Eloise flinched in her sleep, and everyone froze for a second. "Go on," hissed Hermione, trying to make her voice quiet and malicious at the same time. "Spit it out." We'll tell, if he leaves." Ron shrugged and stepped outside. Lavender looked pleadingly at Pavati, who began to tell in a small voice. She confessed to their reading of her letter to her mom, and interrogating Ron, and writing the notes. It took a while to weed all the details out of her, but Hermione finally managed it. "Fine," Hermione said crisply. "I'll deal with you two tomorrow. I have to, see Ron. Both Ditzes retreated to under their bedclothes to sob into their pillows. They'd never been so humiliated in their lives. Hermione stepped outside to where Ron stood waiting. Well, he asked, why'd they send us those dumb notes? Suddenly, it dawned on Hermione how very embarrassing this was going to be. She blushed and didn't look Ron in the face. They were, trying to fix us up. What? Ron started to laugh. Why would they want to do that? Beats me. Hermione had already decided not to tell Ron certain parts, like how she'd referred to him as her boyfriend in her letter home, or how they knew that she thought his best feature was, and she told them what it was.
You know, Ron's answered that question too, so.
Yeah. Well, I like us just being the way we are. Don't you agree, Hermione? He made to give her a sort of punch on the arm, but she dodged it and answered, yes, I do. Well, see you then, he called, walking down the stairs. Bye. The matchmaking scheme had failed, in Lavender and Parvati's opinions. But as each of them in their dorms, him and me, right, smiled Hermione, getting into bed. Me and her. Sure, Ron smirked, pulling the bedclothes up a bit. But as they thought of each other that night, in reflection of the evening's happenings, there was something in their eyes that had rarely been seen before, and certainly, when they thought of each other, could it be love?
Oh,
The end.
that's precious. That's so cute.
Yes.
I liked that.
I thought it was a good little...
Fluffy fluff.
And like it could have been canon.
It could have been. Yeah, it could have definitely worked in canon.
Except for Harry's flu, but that's...
Yeah, well, they just needed to get Harry out of the picture.
I mean, Harry could have been in the picture and he would have just been like, I don't whatever Harry was doing in his 5th year.
Being irrational about Draco Malfoy.
Oh, yeah, following Draco and or having detention every moment.
Uh-huh. Oh, well, maybe that was 6th year. I mean, he was being irrational about Draco Malfoy always, but...
Yeah, I guess he didn't follow Draco around until...
6th year.
6th year.
What was he doing in 5th year? Oh, he was trying to overthrow Umbridge.
Yes.
And convince the entire school that Voldemort was back. And run the DA.
Yep. So he was busy. He was off doing things.
Yeah, he's plenty busy.
Trying to make out with Cho Chang.
Oh, that's right.
Well, she cried.
Over Cedric.
Yeah. Any final announcements or thoughts or?
No, I think we're good.
All right.
We'll see y'all next week.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining us on our journey through the trap door.
Please leave us a review on Facebook or iTunes. It would literally mean the world to us.
It really would.
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Through the Trapdoor 16 or on Twitter at The Trapdoor.
And please send us an email at throughthetrapdoor16@gmail.com with any story suggestions. And as always, join us again next Saturday as we travel through the trapdoor.